Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Saints Soaps. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I make my elderflower and hibiscus soap. This soap is all natural and contains no added scent or fragrances, and I specifically had in mind its use to be used on sensitive skin and areas of the body such as the face. To my regular soap base, I added some powdered elderflower, powdered hibiscus, some Australian pink clay, and a little bit of finely ground walnut shell for exfoliation. As usual, I have my soft and hard oils that have been melted and put together, brought to room temperature. And to this room temperature mixture, I will be adding the lye water, which is comprised of sodium hydroxide mixed into water. That has been brought to room temperature as well. If you don't do that and you decide to mix the two parts together, which starts the chemical reaction, which starts, the process of making the oils turn into actual soap, it can speed up the process and make it very difficult to add anything or work with the soap at all. I decided to use the stick blender as usual to make sure emulsification was just reached, but for the rest of this soap, I decided to experiment and try and just use my hands as much as possible. So instead of the stick blender, I would use a whisk and the spatula. Here I will be dividing the mixture into two parts, one for the elderflower and one for the hibiscus, and the other little additives I will include. Usually with my soaps, I don't always use a scale when dividing it, say for example just into two parts. I just like to eye it. I feel like that's a part of my soaps and what makes them more handmade. Here I have some Australian pink clay. This is great for, it is very minute on the exfoliation, but it does provide some. It's also really great, the Australian pink clay. It's a very neutral clay for all skin types, so it's great for oily skin and for dry skin. It helps balance out the pH on your skin a bit, and it's like when you use a mud mask, it can be very hydrating and good for your skin. Here is one of my favorite ingredients to use. I love to use ground walnut shell because it is so fine. I don't find it too coarse. You can use different ingredients for different types of exfoliation, but this one is great because it is very small and it is fine on the skin, so it will just help get a bit of the dead skin off. And here's the organic elderflower to add to the soap. So while there is nothing wrong with using plants like elderflower and also hibiscus in their dried forms in the soap or infusing them into the soap mixture, I decided to use the powdered forms of them sometimes because powdered forms actually make them a lot more concentrated, and so I just figured it'd be a great way of packing a little bit of extra punch onto the skin. Part of the reason I decided to use hibiscus in this soap, as well as the elderflower, is that they're both very mild ingredients. They don't have any strong reactions or effects on the skin. It's not like they're going to be stripping the dead skin off your face, or that they're going to be making your face feel tingly as they tighten the skin. Nothing like that. So it's very good and mild for your skin. I love consuming elderflower cordial and also drinking hibiscus tea. They're delicious to me. Hibiscus is probably my most favorite fruit tea. I don't need to add anything to it. I can drink it straight. It's very easy to drink straight too. It's not a difficult tea to have. But some of the benefits of them is that the elderflower is has a very mild tightening effect on the skin. It can help reduce the size of pores, and it definitely makes your skin feel smoother and fresh. I know that sometimes I'll use it as a little face mask, and I will mix it up with a little bit of water and apply it and then wash it off, and I don't feel my skin irritated at all. Hibiscus is really great too because it is full of antioxidants and it is great, has great anti-inflammatory properties. So if you find that your skin gets flushed very easily, or that it can get irritated and goes red a lot, try hibiscus. I'm yet to actually use it as a little bit of a face mask, but I just think it's beautiful, it's wonderful. So it does have a pinky red color to it. If you are going to use it as a face mask, use it very sparingly, I will add. There was no worries about using hibiscus in the soap that I made because it's completely absorbed. There was no excess for it to stain the skin at all. So something very interesting you'll see here as I mix the hibiscus in is that it's turned it like brown. It's really odd. It turned it like a really deep kind of off-colored brown, like a cool color. It's a cool tone. You wouldn't really expect it from the reddy purple almost that was the powder of the hibiscus. But as we'll see later on in the soap, it comes back to a very mild pink color in the soap. It doesn't have a very bright, strong color as I added it straight as a powder into the mixture, but I wasn't aiming for a very vibrant color. That wasn't my first priority when making this soap. Now, as I've whisked in the mixture into the soap batters, it's made it very pliable and very liquidy, which is great. That's what I want. So I've just poured straight in the elderflower and the walnut mixture that I have here. And I've just put it straight in, and then I plan on just pouring the elderflower, sorry, not the elderflower, the hibiscus and the pink clay directly on top. So this is going to make a lovely swirly pattern, and we're just all going to ignore that giant splash of a mess that I just made on the side of the container. Okay, that was a complete accident. I mean, who makes a mess on purpose? Well, maybe some people do, I don't know. But it was an accident. And here I'm just making sure that I get out all of the mixture and scooping it back on top. So I was okay with whatever pattern it would make. My only concern with this soap is I didn't want to over mix it too much because I wanted there to be two distinct colors still. Sometimes if you then go in with a mixing tool and you mix up the two different soap batter amounts, it will over mix it. So I'm just going through and swirling with a chopstick a little bit, and then I'm just leaving it at that because I didn't want to overmix it. I wanted to try and keep the colors a little bit separate so you would still see them, and I didn't want it to go a complete murky brown. And now I will be attempting to make a nice top on the top. But as you can see, my very first attempt, it is so liquidy. So I waited a few more minutes and I came back and I tried it again. The mixture is still very soft, but it kind of makes these great little soft swipes as I run the soap, the spoon across the top of the soap. I didn't quite mind what pattern that I made, that it wasn't exactly uniform and all of them were the same. That was perfectly fine for me because when you also hold you cut the bars, you're not going to notice because the bars will all be separate. But yeah, it was okay that they were all a little bit different. I just wanted something textured on top. And as I pulled the spoon through, I thought it was really cool that it brought some of the colors from underneath onto the top. Now, because I did make this mixture by hand, I did mix it by hand with the whisk. I did learn, you'll notice that when we see the soap again at the end after it's been cut, that there were these little spots of color, and that's obviously where there have been a little bit of hibiscus or elderflower powder, which hasn't been completely mixed in. That has, over time, because of the lye water, it has completely turned to soap, so there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a visual thing. But something that I did learn was next time, as soon as I put the dry ingredients into the soap, instead of waiting and adding the dry ingredients to the other amount of soap, I will immediately mix it in, because I believe that allowing it to sit on top of the soap mixture before whisking it in allowed it to solidify a little bit and kind of clump on itself. Now, I have to apologize to you guys. I am so sorry, but I, for some reason, forgot to record the slicing of this soap. It wasn't intentional, but I went to find the recording of it and it just wasn't there. But we do get to see the end result and the beautiful soft yellows and pinks mixed together, and I really love how this soap turned out, how soft and natural it is, how different it is to my usual bright colored soaps. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, stay up to date for when my next videos come out, and to show me some support. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.